Well, it is that time. Starting tonight, high school football is in session here in Connecticut. I love the fall from a sports perspective. There's all kinds of good stuff going on, and there's nothing better than the game day getting kicked off. And so we've got Mike DeMoro, I'm going to call you the certified expert for the whether you like it or not. I've already debuted my power rankings. If you haven't checked those out, make sure you scroll through Game Day CT and find the power rankings. A lot of you have commented on those, the ECC power rankings, and I think those will change weekly. But today I brought Mike in. We're going to do a little bit talk about his ballot that he put forward to the CIAC for the top 10 high school football teams in the state. And we're going to use that as a segue to a little preview of the opening night on game day tomorrow night. So, Mike, let's talk first about the ballot and what goes into your thought process when you nominate teams.
Well, just so to be fair, it's the Game Time CT top 10, and we send them 15 schools every week. The preseason one is just throwing darts against the wall because it's really hard to gauge who's got what back this year. So you're kind of talking to other media guys around the state. Hey, who's going to be good down your way? Who's going to be good down your way? So I think I had 4 of the top 5. So that was good. I don't usually, but so my top 5: New Canaan, Killingly, Greenwich, Darien, Fairfield, Prep. The actual top 5 is New Canaan, Greenwich, Killingly, St. Joe's, Darien. So we had 4 out of the 5 in some form.
So go through your ballot, or go through your ballot. We don't need the top 10 is available for anyone to watch at. Go name some of the teams that didn't make the top 5 that you put forth for consideration.
So 6 through 15. Okay. St. Joe's, Bloomfield, Staples, Massac, who Killingly plays, I think, week 3, 4, something like that. Amity, who's got everybody back. Bunnell, mostly because Ty is our pal.
Yeah.
Hand, obviously they're good. They're good every year. Southington, Sheehan, who
we'll find out about.
Waterford plays tonight. They've been in the Double S final 2 years in a row, and Wilton was my first place team. And I mean, obviously this is FCAC heavy, but
sure,
they are the best league.
So one team from the ECC on your ballot and one team from the ECC that makes the top 10, albeit at number 3, and that is the brand new Trailblazers out of Killingly High School, which is a perfect segue to tomorrow night, which is opening night on game day live from Killingly High School, which I will say there is no better representative for the ECC, not only from the quality of product they put on the field, but for the quality of product of an experience. You want the true Friday Night Lights experience? I think Killingly closes on Friday nights so that everybody can get to the high school. The youth program will be there. They've got the techno, they got the pyrotechnics that go off, the cannon. It is a great experience. And they are playing host to a program even more established than they are, the Rhode Island sort of standard bearer, Bishop Hendricken.
The New Canaan of Rhode Island.
I mean, so the Bishop Hendricken Hawks flying into Killingly to take on the Trailblazers. Talk a little bit about Bishop Hendricken's pedigree.
They have won 3 of the last 7 state championships in
Rhode Island.
Yes, in Division I.
Okay.
They've been in 5 of the last 7, and they've won 19 overall.
19. So this is where we're going to turn the conversation briefly about to the idea of teams versus programs, because I was talking with Mike. You want to know how your team gets into the top 10 in a preseason poll, turn into a program. Because that top 10 is littered. I heard you say, well, because they're always good, and this team, they're always good. So growing up in New London high school football was a fabulous high school football program for about 15 years, competing at the highest level. But they weren't Ansonia. Ansonia, who was competing at that level for even longer. So you can have a good team over the course of 4 to 5 years because of cycles of players. But to become a great program, you have to be able to do it through cycle after cycle of player. I'm going to pose that the difference between a good program and an elite program is doing it over the course of multiple coaches as well. So Ansonia had the great Jack Hunt. They transitioned to
Tom Brockett.
And now they are transitioning to another new coach. They have remained elite even through those coaches. If they can continue to do it, that's what makes them the premier program. Bloomfield is in a similar conversation. They've done it across programs. Bishop Hendricken is that version in Rhode Island.
Guys, here's how I think Killingly can make that step this year. Okay. The ECC, the last ECC team to finish number 1 in the final poll was Fitch.
1999?
2000.
2000.
And it was, I know the New London guys are going to get mad at me, but in my time, that was the best team I have ever seen around here. We've had none since. I think Killingly can do it this year because they start at 3. All the teams around them are in the FCAC, which beats each other up. Not to say, this game's not going to be easy. The Massac game isn't going to be either. But I think if they get through those, they got a real shot to be number 1 at the end.
So I'm not going to argue how great that Fitch team was. All I will say is that I have about 3 New London teams that I would love to see play that game. I would love to see that game played because I think that. But they're right. They're as good as they were fabulous.
It's my first year here, the 91 New London team, which also finished number 1. Yeah. That's right there. We could have that argument, but that's
Well, and I'll just go back to the 83 New London team that gave up like 5 points all year long. But it's a great game. So Killingly, to that point. They were a good program prior to Chad Neal. They were a state championship team prior to Chad
Gene
Neal.
Blaine, sure.
So Chad Neal has taken that program and elevated it now to where they're competing at the highest levels of the state, which I think makes them the best program in the ECC and a great program. For them to become an elite program, an uber elite program or whatever, they'd have to do it eventually, hopefully not for a very long time, with another coach as well.
And in case this is probably not gonna go over well, but I wonder if the ECC drags them down a little bit when it comes to where should we vote them? Because we were talking off air. 31 different teams got votes in the preseason poll, and Killingly was the only ECC school to get one. That tells you what the rest of the state thinks.
Well, the team I put number 2 in my power rankings, Waterford, tonight, they get
one
of
out.
Those teams in Sheehan. And if Waterford wants to be the next, NFA plays a great schedule. Fitch plays a great schedule. But, you're right. I mean, the reality is over the past 5 years, Killingly has had to go out of conference to play the best team on their schedule. The ECC has not provided them with the best team on their schedule. I think there have been years where the ECC has provided the best team on another ECC team's schedule, but for Killingly, Massac and Bishop Hendricken will be the 2 chances they have to show voters that they belong at that spot. I'm not for nothing, but it's not going to be beating Fitch. It's not going to be beating New London. It's going to have to be beating those teams.
And in case one thing you're seeing that in college right now is these kinds of games. If coaches can, for lack of a better term, run it up, so they get, wow, they scored 55 against this team, they will.
So I'm looking at these programs, and I'm trying to answer the question, because everyone asks the question, like, how do we become a program like that? The one thing I have noticed, and I know there are exceptions to all rules, but the two categories that I have seen that seem to stand out in how do you become a program that can be sustained over a long period of time is either a small community that is just all in on football from the youth stage all the way up. I would say Killingly qualifies. I think Ansonia qualifies, right? Where it is from the first to the last, football is clear. There's no other set. The second place is way down. That's that. The other is to have lots of resources. Yes. Because if you look at the rest of those programs, they've all got resources. They've got private facilities and private buses and private planes. Maybe not the private planes, but we're getting there. So I think if you're not, if you're a school that is big or bigger, like an NFA, but you don't have the resources of a New Canaan, you're in a really tough spot. You're kind of not really tethered to either one. So looking around the ECC, it becomes difficult for some of these places because they're good. It's hard to be good. Like Killingly's good in a lot of sports. That's a little bit unusual. Nothing against Ansonia, but for all those years that Ansonia was a football powerhouse, they were kind of a football powerhouse. There was a good baseball team here and there, good basketball teams here and there, but Killingly's been good in a bunch of different sports, but I don't think anyone's arguing what's number one at Killingly.
Yeah.
So
Killing does not have the means that a New Canaan does, but it's got the culture. We purposely, Case, we did this in, I think, May. We went up and did a Killingly football story. What are they doing in the spring? And there's 70 kids in what they call the barn. Lifting, and it's that this is the culture now, and that's what you need, as you say, to be here, because I would say the median income in a Killingly household isn't close to the Gold Coast.
But I think that culture, if lots of coaches come in and try to establish that, it takes community, it takes youth program, it takes like Board of Education, City Council, places like that to, if not be on board, to not derail. Because a lot of these places, quite frankly, the money's not an issue. How you fundraise, how you got. I mean, we've seen whatever. I'm not. And this is not I'm not political on either side. I'm not going to get into that. But you've seen the passion of the town of Killingly in relation to their mascot, right? Mm-hmm. Forget what you think about that. Just to have that many people invested in their team tells you that town values values that sporting team.
And it's Killingly is impressive to me for another reason. It is a modestly sized school, and in schools that are of similar size, you can't have kids just playing one sport. They have to play two, sometimes three. And when that happens, it's hard to devote time to three sports in the off season. And I think at Killingly, the football culture is so deep that that's what they're doing when they may play two or three sports, but in the off season, it's football.
So specific to tomorrow night, Bishop Hendrickin's not rolling in awed by Killingly's pedigree, because their pedigree is, on par with, and even in many respects bigger than Killingly. So it becomes just about the football. Also, I don't know that any place has been as successful as Killingly with the one style that Killingly has run. The whole RPO, run people over. Though, as I have said, with their current quarterback, it's also real passing offense. So they're RPO in both directions, right? And I think Coach Neal winks at that because, yeah, they're a run first team, but he's had some guys who can throw the ball, and the difference in their state championship teams have been if they get down a couple scores, they can throw their way back into the games, which in other years they couldn't. There were a couple of years where if you could stop the running backs, you were stopping Killingly. I like the versatility. I think Sumner can throw the football. The line is always going to be an issue there, but they churn them out. The barn produces linemen. Bishop wants to be physical. That's the fun part about this game is they pride themselves on that sort of blue-collar physicality. Is there any more blue-collar physical team than Killingly?
Well, to me, that's how you're going to have to beat Killingly by being physical enough in the box, and that probably means adding one more player or two and leaving your corners on an island. And Sumner's back 6'4", big arm, and 3 receivers are back too. So I good luck. I mean, you might have to outscore them to beat them.
So here are the topics that you can comment, and we'd love to hear your opinions on. Topic number 1, who you got tomorrow night, Killingly versus Bishop Hendricken? Who's going to come out on top? Topic 2, what makes a great program? How do you become a great program? Topic 3, who's the best high school football team from the ECC that you ever saw? And topic 4, who can challenge Killingly High School in the ECC this year? Who's that other team going to be? So we want to hear your comments and feedback on all of those things. What you got, what you think, go back in time, looking forward, do it all. Let us know. Let's have a dialogue in these here chats and find out. As always, we want you to like, subscribe, forward, share, do it all. Get these videos out there for people to debate. We want to entertain that debate. Every week, we're going to be doing this. My power rankings, Mike's top 10, a preview of the upcoming week. So lots to look forward to here on game day tomorrow night. Killingly High School, 6:30. Bishop Hendricken comes in. The season will be one day old by then. We'll have some information about some other teams and a lot to look forward to on game day.